Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining my session, Linking Strategy with Customer Success. My name is Jenna, Chief Strategy Officer of ProtoPie. If you join this session, I assume you work in SaaS business or related field, and your company is putting customer success as the core fundamental part of achieving company success, just similar to ProtoPie. So when I thought about what would be the best way to talk about this topic, I thought maybe I share with you what I actually went through last 12 months after I joined ProtoPie as CSO, what kind of strategic steps that I took to achieve this goal within the organization. So I have a lot of content to prepare, so let's begin. Before we talk about the actual topic, I thought maybe we should talk about what strategy really means. There are many different ways about talking about the strategy, but in a way, it's really simple. A strategy means a detailed plan for achieving success in business. And it is nothing different from when you play a board game or anything else. So basically, if you play a board game, obviously the success means winning the game. In that case, you need to think about the direction. How are you going to play this game? Am I going to play more aggressively or defensively? And then after that, you need to plan the action. So basically each step, what you're going to take to win the game. So in this case, when organization putting the customer success as the core fundamental part of the business, then we need to make sure that all other parts of the company, when you define the direction, it all moving towards to the same goal. And then putting the action, making sure you can achieve that goal. So I went through the same journey and it took me, I know of course it is ongoing journey. I joined the company last July in 2019. So basically during the last 12 months, I went through these 7 steps. So I'm going to take you through the 7 steps one by one. So let's start from the first one. The first step, meet your customers. I mentioned that in the strategy, defining what success means is really important to you. And in this case, especially in SaaS business, and if you're creating a company where your product is really focusing on the customer, then really to define the success in this case, you really need to understand your customer. And in my case, I never worked in the SaaS industry or startup before I joined ProtoPie. So the onboarding process was very important. And I actually still believe that even if I go back 12 months ago, I will take the same step. And I believe the best leadership onboarding, especially for the executive members or actually any members in your team, the best onboarding is meeting and understanding your customer. ProtoPie's case, we have customers around the world, over 100 countries that are already using ProtoPie. So what I did is actually, starting from July when I joined the company, I traveled North America and Europe and Asia to really meet the existing and the potential customers. An important part that I want to highlight here, if you are in a startup industry, your investor is also important part of your ecosystem. So I will definitely recommend that when you do this journey, making sure that as you meet your existing customers as well as the potential customers, put some time out there to meet potential investors or any investors that you can reach out as well. While you are meeting them and then talking about them, their thoughts about our product, but also what are the pain points they have, then you will be able to define what customer success really means to them. Okay, so you now understand about your customers, then what would be the next step? Next step, the second step is define the customer success in brand vision. So what is brand vision? I talked about the framework of the what strategy means. There's a success, and we need to think about what direction we want to moving forward, and to define the direction that we are heading. The best way to summarize our company's direction is basically defining the brand vision. So my recommended steps for defining that is making sure that you spend time thinking about the brand vision and purpose, and make sure that it aligns with the customer success that you want to create. And to be honest, this is the most difficult steps out of all the 7 steps, because a lot of companies, and especially SaaS, they think just creating a good product means they have their brand vision, but technically it is not. You really need to go deeper into why you exist and what is the ultimate goal that you want to achieve. So ProtoPie went through the same journey. And the first step that we did was defining the challenge. What is the challenge that we want to create? We want to tackle. So the challenge that we identified in the market is that there are too many ideas that left unexplored because of expressing, communicating, and testing them is too difficult or expensive. So that's why we created our tool. So we created an interactive prototyping tool that enables teams to validate, improve, and perfect their ideas before writing a single line of code. You may be able to define this relatively easier. So basically, think about what is the ultimately the challenge you're tackling and why you exist. Then what's the mission? So what is basically the change that you want to bring into the customers' lives, customers' day-to-day experience? In ProtoPie's case, we want our customers to feel that ProtoPie is the brand that supports their greatest ambitions by constantly removing barriers to exploring and realizing new ideas. And what I'm sharing here is obviously is not the outcome of just a one discussion. It took us several months. And from this kind of the positioning our brand and understanding why we exist and what our purposes are, and we were able to define our brand vision. So the ultimate vision they want to create is that it's a world in which great ideas are always explored, constantly improving human experience. So definitely, basically, that's the success we need means to us, and then that's the basically the customer success we want to bring into this market. So based on this, we were able to create the tagline, free your ideas. And then we created the brand campaign, and you can check it out in our website or in our YouTube channel to talk about our story and then the vision. So defining the customer success and making sure that your brand vision is aligned to the success. It took us roughly 4 months, not creating the campaign, but just to really facilitating the brand workshops as well as the defining the vision and making sure that it aligns to the customer success that we identify from the first stage. Okay, then what's the third step? Is aligning the success with business goals. Why is it important? A lot of times that what I have seen, especially as a strategist, so many companies say they are customer centric and they say customers are the fundamental part of their business. But then they say that, but their business goals are sometimes it's just purely let's make money. And if you have these very contradicting objectives, obviously when you're trying to move to the same direction, it may not, it will have a lot of the conflicts along the way. And what's really important is that, of course, the company needs to be profitable and we all need to generate revenue. But how and what is the most important parts while you are taking this step is really important. So basically, we need to ensure the business goals and ambitions that you defined and then set as a milestone that needs to be very closely aligned to the success of customers as well as the brand vision that you defined. So in our case, after I joined the company, understanding the customer success, what it means, and then really redefining the brand vision, the next step that I did was reviewing our existing pricing and strategy model, and then defining it again, making sure it aligned to our overall goal and the success. And there were a few fundamentals that we put as a guidelines. because like I mentioned, if your brand vision is really creating better human experience, then it means the way you behave as a business, you have to deliver that promise. So basically, when we revise the pricing and the packaging strategy, we wanted to make sure that it is very easy to select the product for customers. They can choose what they need, and clear comparison on the product features, and it's very transparent, no hidden cost, and clear value proposition, and no hard selling. Making sure that we recommend and then guide the customers to choose the right product and based on their needs. So following this principle, we were able to revisit our pricing and packaging strategy, making sure that it aligns to our overall guidelines. And also, this also helped us that it is really important that we should be able to deliver this value to as many as people possible. So following this initiative, we were able to create a free student and a free student plan. So basically, any educations and students can use our product free. So you can check it out as well. So the third step, align the success with business goals. So it took us from July to almost end of November, but it's ongoing journey. So basically, the first thing we did is, after defining brand vision, is that reviewing the existing business strategy, and especially pricing and packaging strategy, and making sure that it aligns well with the overall success we defined. So we talked about customer success, and then defining the direction of the brand and business, and what's left, product, which is, as for SaaS company, one of the most important elements of the business. So now that we defined the other parts, now you need to really think about the product. So when you create a product, and I assume you already have a many great processes about listening customers' voice, but it really, again, it never, it's never enough to overemphasize this topic, but you really need to listen, analyze, and anticipate customers' needs, and making sure that that thought is melt into your product roadmap. And there were many things that we employed to make sure that this kind of the process happened. But just to highlight some of the things, that if you're looking for something more tactical, then we do weekly dog fooding. Basically, all of our engineers and designers are trying to use our product exactly the way our customers are using, to discover some areas that we can enhance. And also, we have a channel where customers can visit us and then request features or talk about their pain points. So making sure that we regularly review this, and also quarterly roadmap review. As customer needs evolve, your roadmap needs to evolve. So make sure that you have a person who are in charge of the roadmap, but that there are process and communication funnel where you can constantly review and revisit the roadmap. And of course, we do the interviews, and we created the avid user group called ProtoPie, making sure this type of conversation can flow through easier. So align the success with product roadmap. It's basically ongoing. Every day, every week, and every month, we need to constantly listen customers' feedback and making sure that it gets positioned into your product roadmap. Okay, so I talked about the strategy and what strategy means. Basically, putting the vision, define the success, and then making sure what all elements of in your business are heading to the same direction. Then what's next? Basically, the next part is planning the action. And what is most important part of the taking the action is the people. And here, there are many aspects of the people, but I want to talk about the importance of creating the right structure of people. And what I've seen after I joined SaaS company, also because of ProtoPie is a startup, a lot of companies wants to create maybe flat organization structure, no hierarchy. But I do want to make sure that the organizational structure and titles really matter, not to create the hierarchy within the company, but to make sure that each individual's goals is very well aligned to the success that we define. And I'll give you an example. When I joined the company, our organizational structure, I'm not showing you the full structure, but just looking at where the customer success department was positioned. Look at the left side. Basically, we had a growth department, and then on the growth, we had a marketing, sales, and customer support. So now compare this with the new organizational structure that we created. We call the department GCS, the Growth and Customer Success. And under here, growth and customer success are positioned at equal level, not one above the other. Why is this important? Because the balance is critical to achieve this direction. If one growth is more superior than customer success, then a lot of times maybe the business is pushing revenue over satisfying our customers. And that's why you need to make sure in organization create the right balance and right power distributed to the different department. So basically, we after the restructuring, we created a healthy balance in the organization by putting growth and customer success at an equal level. And I talked about the title really matters. The left title is basically how before I joined the company, what was our team members were called customer support rep, and we changed the title to customer success manager. And why does it matter? For customer support rep, as the title represent, a lot of times the KPI, meaning resolving complaints or just the closing tickets. Whereas customer success manager takes bigger role than just closing the ticket. And KPI in this case is successfully guiding and onboarding customers. So the role doesn't just begin when the ticket open and then finish when the ticket is closed. Basically, it's the constant journey, making sure that we bring the happiness and the success into our customers' experience of using our product. And same thing goes to the sales. I'm sure that you have the typical sales titles like a business development rep or sales rep, but a lot of times if someone's title is sales, and if I am a salesperson, I would think generating the revenue or generating number of deals will be the main KPI. We changed the sales rep's title to customer engagement manager because we wanted to make sure that these people are taking bigger role than not just the selling. Because in SaaS, it's not just about, we make people sign up. We need to make sure the experience is constantly delivered as a service. So customer engagement managers, their KPI is introducing and educating the right product and plans to our customers. So creating the right structure of people. So it started from November. And then beginning of this year, I distributed this new structure. Basically, make sure that the ideal structure of the people is shared. But more importantly, you need to share why this change is happening, and also why their title changed and what it means to them, and then defining the KPIs against that. The sixth step, define the right process. So we thought about, we defined the right direction, and then now we're putting the action. The people, when people work, of course, they need the right process. And I'm sure you, in your organization, you have many different types of process defined. But one thing that I want to highlight here is that create a process where honest and empathetic and genuine conversations and discussions are encouraged. What I mean by that is when a process is put in the not the right way, what ended up will happen is, let's say your customer success manager shared this report, then you will see, oh, okay, our satisfaction score is above our benchmark, and most of our customers are satisfied. Great, let's move on. But if you have a very honest environment where people are always willing to discuss their even the parts that maybe make them feel defensive or uncomfortable, we will actually highlight one area and talk about this in more detail. And that's really important, because as an executive, sometimes if you don't create this culture and process, you will not know what the pain points are because you ended up just seeing the good parts of the business. So I really encourage everybody to create this culture where people don't feel insecure talking about what are the real challenges or what problems may occur in the business. So develop the right process. After restructuring the team, basically the journey started from the beginning of this year and making sure that we're creating the culture of trust, and trust is really important part in here. And so people can just share and discuss any type of feedback without feeling defensive. Okay, so the last step, implement the right platform. And because of you guys are all working in SaaS industry, you all know the importance of using the right softwares or right platforms. And the parts that I want to highlight is that really make sure that you create the right platform where you can see the data coming through and flowing through and really easily consolidate, understand the customer inquiries and feedback and the satisfaction. And in our case, the journey, we, after putting the right team structure and then process, basically we start changing and implementing the tool sets that we have. And starting from March and June, it took us roughly 4 months to really review the solution and then selecting and then implementing the right solution. So far, I shared with you the 12 months of my journey going through these 7 strategic steps. So if I summarize, so how do you link strategy with customer success? First, make sure you understand, you meet your customers and understand their pain points and their needs, and define what customer success means, and make sure your company's vision is really aligned to that. And the second part is that on the left side is the defining the direction and making sure that the direction is aligned to the success that we define. So brand, business, and product. Those are the 3 core elements that making sure those are aligned to the vision you created. Then plan action. People, process, platform. These 3 Ps, making sure that you revisit and then put in the right structure in there so you can really actively achieve the customer success you defined. For any questions, please reach out to me. You can use my Twitter, Jenna_Yim, or you can ask me questions to Jenna Yim at LinkedIn, my LinkedIn channel. Thank you so much for listening, and I really hope that my session was helpful and you guys are all able to incorporate the learning to build, to link the strategy with the customer success. Thank you so much.